Okay, so good morning to everybody. Some people weren't here yesterday, so yesterday was kind of, I started by giving a short introduction, what Tantra is all about and why we practice Tantra. So, so yesterday we did the sadhana of Medicine Buddha in order for you to get familiar with it, and then also to know how to do this, by yourself or alone. So I mean, that's kind of the purpose, that you start to do these practices at home by yourself as a daily practice. So the purpose of doing tantric practices is, maybe those people who were here yesterday, maybe I can see how much you understood. And I ask you what you understood from it. Why do we do tantric practices? Why do we visualize ourselves as these, this time it's green Tara, so she's green as a female. Yesterday was a blue Buddha, which is hanging next to her. So why are we doing this? Why do we visualize these forms? Why do we say these mantras? Why do we, think about these things? What's the purpose? Yeah, just say, but loud, so everybody hears.
It's a fast way. It's a faster way to get to transform the mind, to get enlightened.
And why would you want to get enlightened?
The benefit of us.
What?
For the benefit of others.
For the benefit of others.
Tired of samsara.
Tired of samsara, so that is the first thing. So you wouldn't, again, if somebody's here really for the first time and you haven't heard about Buddhism, so you wouldn't start with those practices, okay? Because you need quite a lot of, and I know it's almost a dirty word, you need quite a lot of faith or trust. And how can you get the trust that these really strange things that we don't really, it doesn't fit our daily view, it doesn't fit our what we think is, and and especially if you have some kind of aversion. Hello, if you have some kind of aversion towards religion, it sounds very religious, this whole thing, yeah, because we do make requests to an outside Buddha, and we do say the mantra, and we do praises and all this. So if you don't really know what the Dharma is all about, then these practices, I think it would be too early almost, because then you get a totally wrong view of what Buddhism is all about. And it's not that every Buddhism has these practices, okay? So Buddhism is something that it adapts to where it is. So a lot of it is culture also. So we have Tibetan Buddhism and Thai Buddhism and Laos and Cambodia and Sri Lanka and Thailand and Burma and all these different ways. So what needs to be there in all the different packages of Buddhism is what? So that you recognize it as being Buddhism.
Refuge.
This is a piece of paper because you were not here. So what we usually do, we write names of people who are having problems or troubles, and then we put it on the altar. Again, this whole thing, people kind of go like, do you believe it? I said, well, I don't know, maybe something helps, maybe it does work, at least I try, because I know that not doing anything, that for sure doesn't change anything. Yeah, so, yeah, but the belief or the trust that I have, which makes me put up an altar, which makes me do prostrations, which makes me do these praises to these Buddhas, is based on an understanding of what? What is essential in Buddhism? What can you find in all Buddhisms? Be it Hinayana, be it Mahayana, or Theravada and Mahayana, be it the founder vehicle, which is a very nice say, instead of saying Hinayana or Theravada, I mean, it's the founder vehicle because that's the basis, and then the other one is the Mahayana vehicle that developed a bit later. But what can you find in all of them?
The Four Noble Truths.
The Four Noble Truths, which are what?
The wish for liberation.
There is
There
suffering.
is suffering. Refuge.
And there is a way to get out of the suffering.
Suffering, the reasons of suffering.
The causes, the origin of suffering. Yeah. And
The cessation and the past.
that, exactly. So it's good if you go like really step by step. So first is like, you know, you go to a doctor. Why? Because you feel something is wrong. So you need to understand something is wrong. So all of us sitting here, we think we're pretty healthy, isn't it? Hi, Anna. Definitely you don't think that you are crazy, is it? Or how many people are sitting here thinking that you're crazy? Well, we all are.
Ordinary mind, we all are.
We all are crazy because we project things outside. Same as, you know, when somebody is crazy, why do we say that they are crazy? Because they have unrealistic views, because what they are seeing, we don't see it like that, and then we think we're normal and they are crazy. They think the other way around. They think that they are normal and we are crazy because, you know, then each one tries to explain to the other what they see and nobody wants to change their views. So then this is how conflict arises. So in the Buddha's view, from the Buddha's point of view, we're all mentally insane. How many of you are convinced that you are not under the control of your negative emotions? You're not under the control of them. Yeah. So I was, huh? Yeah. We're totally under, we see, how many of you want to have negative emotions? Nobody. Yet they control us. And they are responsible for all these projections. Yeah, when you are angry at somebody, you only see kind of the what you are averse to. You only see the negative side of the person or the situation or whatever. On top of it, you add to this. Yeah. When we are attached or when we have desire for something, we only see the positive side, and on top of it, we exaggerate, we put more to it, and then of course, then very quickly our deluded mind starts to think, oh, I am not well because this person is there, which I dislike, or I am not well because I don't have this person, which I like or which I love, it's not love, it's being attached to. Okay, I can see that some people are leaning. Look, guys, we have enough space, so just move your cushion so that you are comfortable. Like, for example, you can come a little bit out. And then if you sit in front of the camera, I don't care, but maybe Nitsan, or you the camera lady. Yeah, oof. Yeah, so you can also, Alona, are you comfortable there? So that every time you...
I don't feel very well.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else who wants to move to the side here, please do so that you are comfortable. I don't need to see you. I mean, you know, if you want to hide from me, it's fine. I don't mind. But if you want to see me, then sometimes you have to move a little bit.
If you get sleepy, you won't be able to sleep.
Huh?
If you get sleepy, you won't be able to sleep.
You know, I fall asleep in front of the Dalai Lama sometimes. So who am I to judge somebody who falls asleep in my teachings? I mean, come on. Like, why do people fall asleep? Because they're tired. Because they're tired. That's why they're asleep. They fall asleep because you're tired. It's as simple as that. So what am I going to judge you because you're tired? It's okay. If you want to go to sleep, it's fine, you know. Anyway, so it's good, like with these Four Noble Truths, it's really good to understand there's something wrong with us. And that's what the Buddha is pointing out. He says, hey, look. He doesn't say you are suffering. He says there is suffering. And then he gives us this long list of what he thinks is not something that we would choose if we would have a choice. Can you give me some of these things that you would not choose if you would have a choice? For example, as Shuki pointed out yesterday, all the things on the dedication list, we would not choose it if we would have a choice. And then, you know, I have like dedication is 5 pages that I read every morning that people give me their names. So I can see there's a lot of things going on that one would not choose if one would have a choice. Okay? So that is what is wrong with us, that we are living in an existence which we think nothing is wrong and we just go on happily living. Like climate change, I mean, these buildings are coming up, and the cars are getting developed and are on the road. And well, you know, the house is burning. We're like children playing with our toys, and we find it, oh, but I have such nice toys, isn't it? Huh?
Plastic. It's plastic. Your toys are made from plastic.
Sorry, I'm very deaf. You know, one thing is I have a tinnitus, then is this one going, and I don't hear well. So you have to speak really loud, or we make kind of, you know, you say it and then Nitsan hears it, or somebody has, or Sigal, who has a very strong voice, then you kind of transfer it to me. Can you try again?
The toys, they're made of plastic, and the plastic is a cause for climate change.
Yeah.
So children are playing with toys, and we're pretending that nothing is happening, but they're playing with.
Yeah, well, we're not playing with our plastic bags, which is using far too many of them, you know. I mean, again, this is a paper bag, you need to cut trees for a paper bag, so at least reuse it, yeah? And whenever you go shopping, I mean, these are small things, but this is where we as individuals can start. Whenever you go shopping, then try to go shopping and take your bag with you instead of just taking them, you know? I mean, and also, all these electrical appliances, they also need energy. So whatever is not needed, then don't use it. As you do, bring your own cup, for example, because of course, you know, it's very simple. Then there is like a big thing of paper cups, so it's why I don't have to take one, I take it. In Dharamsala, like years ago, it was very easy. You didn't have your cup, you didn't get tea. That was, so everybody brought their cup. Now, because of all the Westerners going, they also start to distribute like these styropor cups, which is really bad for the environment. And now even the people who brought their cups don't bring their cup anymore because we're so lazy. Yeah. So that is also what is wrong with us, that we see that the world is burning and we just, of course, everybody says, well, what can I do as an individual? That's true. There's not much we can do. But at least whatever we can do, we should, you know. Also, when there is public transport, take public transport. Today there's none, I know. But then, you know, especially in the city where there's so many buses and you don't have to worry about where to put your car, you don't have to pay for the parking, you know, bus stops where you want to stop. The bus system in Tel Aviv is really good. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. No, I do take buses, so it's really good. I mean, I sometimes have to change bus to go somewhere, but and the ticket you get is worth like an hour and a half. You can even go on one price, you can go backwards and forwards. I mean, not many cities are like this. Yeah.
But we complain.
But you don't complain, you take the car. That's what you do. And if I want to take the public transport, you go, no, somebody will come and pick you up. So this is it. If somebody comes to pick me up, it has to be somebody who lives in the area or has to pass through anyway. I don't allow anybody to come and pick me up who comes from the other side of the city. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so this is what I mean. So like that. So that was the climate change talk, which I won't give up talking about it because we do have a responsibility. So the little things we can do, it goes with your spiritual practice. If you think, I want to save all sentient beings, and you just keep using plastic and throwing it out, not seeing where you throw it out. And even as you say here, well, yes, there is this system of dividing the garbage, but then they all put it in the same pot. It doesn't matter, keep dividing it, because they will notice that it works. As long as you just put anything wherever, and you don't pay attention, why would then start to divide it there when all the garbage is together? I understand. But if they start to see that it works, and in the orange bin is what needs to go in the orange bin, and the paper is the only paper in the blue bin, and in the green bin is the rest of the garbage. I mean, you know, I don't speak Hebrew, even I understand, because there's drawings on it. It's not so difficult. It's a habit. It's a habit that we can develop. And if you see things lying on the ground, if it's not too much, pick it up, throw it out. If you see that these things are in the wrong bin, instead of getting angry and upset, and don't get righteous also, you know, just pull it out and put it in the blue bin. And then at least you do your share. And that is what is part of your spiritual practice, to take care of the environment. I heard that somebody told me that Stephen Folger is very much going into the environment thing, which I think I need to make contact with him again, because I was very, very inspired when they used to do these peace walks. I participated in one. So of course, if you go on this peace walk, do you know it, what he did? So like 20 years ago, they did, so him and the Tovana and anybody else who wanted to participate, you would put a white kata like here, so that would be the sign, I come in peace. And they would just in silence for 10 days walk around, especially in the Galil, yeah, Arab places, Jewish places, and not discuss with people, not have any signs, just to walk through it. And they would get abuse from the Arabs, from the Jewish, because they were traitor from both sides. So it doesn't change the situation, but what you are training is not to react to the abuse and to make sure that your mind remains peaceful. So whoever participated in those walking retreats came out of that retreat with a very, very peaceful mind. Because you have to work very hard not to react to when you get criticized for doing something that you think is for the peace, when other people start to abuse you. You just walk. It was a group of people, so they meditated in the evening or they discussed in the evening, but during the day they were in total silence. And the group walked through the cities. Nobody remembers? Tommy remembers.
I think I remember something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So then now you have these Women for Peace, which are doing maybe something similar also. Yeah. So for him, it was the main purpose was not to make other people who see them peaceful, but that the people who participate remain peaceful. And that's the practice. So also if you go like on these women marches, you have to make sure that your mind is peaceful, because otherwise, otherwise you give very good tools into the hands of the people who attack you that you are aggressive. So that's what I mean. You can be loud, that's fine. You can be loud and peaceful. Peaceful doesn't mean not saying anything, by the way. Peaceful means not wanting to harm the people who are the aggressors or the people who are kind of creating the difficult situation. Okay, so we're living in a difficult situation. We are under the control of our negative emotions and the consequences of our previous actions, where we created the potential or the energy that something ripens. So there's not much we can do. Then the Buddha said, okay, but because the mind itself, and mind is not the brain for somebody who has never heard this. If there is anything you don't understand, please ask, because I don't know how much you know. And if it would be an introduction to Buddhism, then we wouldn't get to the entire practice. So if there's anything you don't understand, please just ask. So he said the mind itself, the mind which is not the brain, by itself is pure. But then these, the karmic imprints and the negative emotions, they are also mind, but they are not oneness with the purity. The same way as if you have dirt in the water by itself is transparent. Yeah? But there can be dirt in the water. Activists in Zurich, I don't know if you saw it, in Switzerland, they just poured green color into the main river that goes through Zurich as a protest action. So, this is how they make themselves seen and known, by doing these kind of things. It's color, but it's not harmful to anybody. So, the Limmat is called, the river became like this pomelo, like really green like poison. So, and I remember when I was a kid, the little river that we had to pass to go to school, because we had a chemical plant that was like behind it. Sometimes it was yellow, sometimes it was red, sometimes it was green, and it smelled really bad. When I was a kid, nobody was doing anything about these things. And all the chemical, but they just released everything into the rivers, and then the rivers go into the ocean. So things have changed, but also we have made a lot of progress on the way, which is kind of counteracting the change. So it's possible for the mind to be totally pure. the purpose of our life or the purpose of existence is to become awakened or to become enlightened, which then you will have lasting joy in your mind. Don't seem to be very interested in that. You will be free from all negative states of mind. You will be free from all projections. You will, if you want to help others, you will know how to do that because you will be omniscient, not omnipotent, but omniscient. You will have skillful means how to inspire people. Yeah. For example, when you see the Dalai Lama, I mean, you have like thousands of people that come to see him because they feel that, I don't know what they feel, but they probably feel that he touches something in them which is good, is goodness. Yeah. But then when it comes down to practice and make your mind pure and clean as his is, then you have, how many we got? 25, 20, 30, something like that. Yeah, I remember we did a Tara retreat in Vienna, and in the city hall where he was giving a talk, there were 10,000 people. For the 21 Tara retreat, we were maybe 15. And then somebody asked, where are all those people who cheered the Dalai Lama and thought that, wow, it's so great what he's doing. So you see the result of the practices when you see the Dalai Lama. Right? And so just by his presence, he can inspire people. So it's not, how to say, it's not nothing when you go there, because by his presence and because by you hearing the words, he put something in your mind that needs to ripen first.
Planting the seed.
Huh?
It's like
He's planting seeds. For other people who the seeds are already there, he brings the seeds to ripen and then they start looking for a Buddhist group. But those are very few. So you are those people who come to a Buddhist center. So that means the seeds that were planted before, it's not that you're hearing this for the first time. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You'd think that you hear it for the first time. Otherwise you wouldn't be attracted to these kind of things, especially Tantra, which is kind of a little bit strange or very strange. So like this. So it's our birthright to be awakened or to be enlightened. And it's not just for the Buddhists. It had nothing to do with Buddhists or Buddhism, right? The word Buddha just means awake. Awake from what we think is true to see that it's just a projection of the mind, what is happening to us, what is happening in the world. Even global warming is not true from its own side. It's also just a projection, but it's a projection that will destroy us. You see, these projections have functions. The same way as a dream has functions. Yeah? A dream will make you, when you don't know that you're dreaming, they will make you react. And they will stir up your emotional world. Actually, yesterday I said, my dreams are always very stressful. This night I had a very nice dream. I can't remember what it was, but I remember waking up and saying, oh, this was not stressful at all. I think I was going to some teachings or something. I think, but it was like I didn't have to do anything. I could say, maybe it's a sign I should stop teaching also. You know, people always say, oh, you have to find signs into dreams. I'm not finding signs into dreams. It's just, I'm usually quite happy when I wake up because my dreams are usually stressful. Like I lose something, I don't catch the flight, I'm getting angry at somebody, and the mind being really out of control. Yeah, in the dream we can see how the mind is totally out of control. When we are awake, we have some kind of control, at least over body and speech, not over the mind. Yeah, you cannot tell the mind, stop being angry. It will, if you don't give the mind antidotes, or if you don't apply awareness, just to look at the anger. If you allow the mind to stay with the object that makes you angry, it will still stir in here. But we are able to control the speech and the body. So we're not hitting or we're not saying these very unpleasant words, I hope. Are you already there? Yeah. And then by not kind of saying these words or by not doing something with the body, then at least we don't create more karmic seeds. Okay, so being awake, I mean, does this Buddha, the Buddha was a normal person, a normal human being, just like us. But through these practices, he then attained enlightenment. So he's not a normal being anymore. So every Buddha is not a normal being anymore. So, and I think also very strong practitioners, very often, we don't take advantage of that. The mind is not going to the Buddha when we are having a problem, is it? Spontaneously. You were asking, yes, was it you who was asking that sometimes, you know, can I recite the mantra at the time of death?
Yes.
Noga, you asked, yeah? I said, of course, you know. So whenever, you see, what we're doing, because we don't see the, I have to finish because otherwise I forget what I wanted to say. What we are doing, we are constantly not using the Dharma in our daily life. We still go into trying to get rid of something with aggression or trying to get something with desire. We're not using the Dharma methods yet spontaneously. Because, you know, when you get disappointed about something, then you need a friend who says, but come on, you know, I mean, everything is impermanent. You yourself, it doesn't come spontaneously like that when you break something. I hope. I mean, this is the goal, that at one point when something breaks, spontaneously you go, of course, it's a glass, I drop it, it breaks. There's no, you don't even need to think it. There's no emotional reaction of shit. Because every emotional reaction creates a habit to again react emotionally in the future. Yeah? And then, you know, when you're alone, it's just shit, and that's okay when the glass is breaking. But if somebody else breaks the glass, and it's my favorite glass that I got from my grandmother, and it's from the Ming Dynasty, or I don't know what, you know, it's an antique glass that if I have money problems, I can sell it, and you broke it, and you go like, but it's just a glass, and anyway, glasses break, it's impermanent. You wouldn't be very happy that somebody is using Dharma methods to help you letting go. When we are totally caught up in our emotions and somebody, actually a Dharma friend, tries to help you with Dharma reasoning, what happens?
They reject it.
We get angry.
Yes.
You don't understand what this means. Yeah, because of course, why? Because they don't have this emotional turmoil. So for them it's like, what is she going on about? It's like, it's just a glass. Yeah. There's this very nice story of a Lama who was given one of these very, very precious, expensive, antique cups. And everybody was always had to be so careful about not breaking it. So one day, when he got, like his attendant was standing there with the cup, and he opened the door of the car in such a way that the cup would fly off and break, and he said, finally, now we can relax again. The more you surround yourself with precious things, the more you're frightened that they're breaking. Yeah? Like, okay, and preciousness is not in the thing. I'll tell you the story about my metal cup, okay? So I forgot my metal cup in Switzerland. I have a metal cup that you buy in India, which I always take with me. So I forgot it, so I don't have it, and I hate to use these paper cups. So also today for the coffee, I will take my glass downstairs, because I think yesterday, hey. So anyway, so I was looking for one in the shuk, and I found one, so I was very happy. So now I forgot it in somewhere else. But you see, the preciousness, once I know that I can buy another one for 10 shekel, the preciousness is gone. So I don't need to get upset that I forgot it in Farmonash, but Leora Price has it. And she wanted to send it to me to kind of to Tel Aviv. I said, no, it's okay. I mean, here I have cup. You see, the preciousness of the thing is in your mind. If I lose this cup in Switzerland where I know I can't get one, then I'd be kind of much more upset. But it's because I tell my stories all the time, so somebody now, just in case I lose it in Switzerland, last time somebody was in Nepal, she brought me one, so now I have a spare one, so it's also okay if I lose it. So this is what I mean, you know, that to use these Dharma methods or taking refuge in the Buddha and Dharma Sangha, remember what we learned in the practices. This is for when things are getting tight. And this is why we practice it every day when things are not tight. So then when things are getting difficult, the mind spontaneously goes there, especially at the time of death. Because at the time of death, your mind will be like in the dream. You will have no control, and it will go here and there and everywhere and be very confused, because at the time of death, you will lose everything that you normally take refuge in. Like taking refuge in something means we hold on to it and we want to find some hope or some solace or whatever. So the first thing that we grasp onto is material possessions. Yeah, when you're not well, then you kind of eat something very nice, or you look at your diamond ring, or I don't know, you know. Or you go drive for in your beautiful car, or whatever. Another thing that we take refuge in is friends and family. Yeah, you call them, you tell them that you're not feeling well. And another thing that we're taking refuge in is the body. So we try to have some pleasant experiences with the body. And these three things at the time of death, they collapse. So if these three things are your only way where you can put your mind so you calm down, you will not go very happily from this planet, I think. Yeah? So now is the time to practice. So when we start to visualize these forms, then it wakes up something in us, which is what is called, for the Buddhists, it's called Buddha nature. If you're not a Buddhist, because then again, if I say Buddha nature, people who are not Buddhists, they think it's only for the Buddhists. It means your nature that is already awakened, but these qualities of an awakened mind is totally covered. So this is why when Sigal said, Tantra it's the quick path. Why? Because we bring the method into, the result into the path. We see ourselves as already fully awakened. So in order to do that, first you need to know what this means, being fully awakened, okay? First you need to know what prevents us from not being fully awakened. And then you need to have some trust in your own potential to be fully awakened. Do you have trust that we have the potential to be kind and compassionate to all sentient beings? I mean, not everybody at the same time. Not even the Buddha can do that. But like, let's say when the Dalai Lama has 10,000 people in his audience, he feels love and compassion for all of them. Do you have to trust that I'm not able to do that. But do you have to trust that you have the potential to be kind and compassionate to all beings? Do you have, well, I see some nodding, some others don't know, so ask yourself. It's a very important question for these practices. Because if you don't have to trust, then it becomes something theistic, and that's not what it is. It sounds and it looks like theistic because it's Kriya Tantra. And at the beginning, because we need some kind of something good outside already in order to wake up our own goodness, that is at the beginning of your tantric practice. Afterwards, you don't need it anymore. It's just you, visualizing yourself as being already awakened. Yeah. So for that, you need to have a good understanding of why am I not as happy as I want to be? Why am I not as joyful as I want to be? Why don't I have enough energy as I want to have energy? Why am I dying? Why am I being reborn? All these questions Buddhism can answer in what is called Discovering Buddhism, which happens here in Hebrew from time to time. When is the next session?
Tuesday.
Huh?
Every week on Tuesday.
Every week on Tuesday. So all these questions, it's not that Buddhism can answer them for you. Buddhism offers you an answer, and then you have to check whether that answer fits you so that you can work with it or not. But it's or in a book or YouTube or, you know, wherever. So all these things, why am I not as happy as I could be? Why am I not as joyful as I want to be? Why do I die? Why am I reborn? Why do these things happening to me? Buddhism can give you certain views that then you can accept or not. If you accept the view of that I have the potential to be constantly happy, but happy, you know, happy is such a, it's not a good word. To be constantly well, open, and the word I really like there, to be free. I have the potential to have a mind that is free from being bothered by emotions that are not helpful, neither for me nor for others. What would be one of those mental states that we definitely recognize they're not helpful?
Anger.
Huh?
Anger.
Anger.
Envy.
Huh?
Envy.
Envy. Oh, envy is such a loser emotion, you know? Because it prevents you from enjoying what you have. And it doesn't take anything away from the other person that you're envious about or that you're jealous about. Jealousy, we're all plagued by jealousy, isn't it? And it's such a loser emotion. At least with anger, you can use the energy to break through, or that somebody really goes, you know. Say, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that person anymore. Desire can be helpful because it makes us really think. You know, we have one pointedly, how do I get this flower here? I really like this flower. How can I, you know, I can't buy it anywhere else. Well, desire would say, you know, attachment, okay, where can I buy it? But if, let's say, that's the only plant like this and I want it, so my desire will start thinking about how to steal it. You know, how can I hide it from, like my normal mind would say, why don't you ask them if you can have it? But the desire, who doesn't want to be humble and say, could I please have it, who doesn't want to take the chance that they say no, would go like, how can I get it? Not thinking about consequences, yeah? So these emotions, they make us very awake, and this is why we are so attached to them. This is the thing. And very often they can get us what we want, but they have consequences. So if I steal the plant, you know, I go home and I'm very happy about this, and then somebody, Nissim, who brought the plant, he comes to the house where I'm staying with Roni, and he sees the plant, and it's the only plant in Israel. He goes like, oh, she stole it. She took it. Do you think he would still come to the classes? No matter how good the jokes I am that I'm telling? You wouldn't continue to come to the classes, would you? Yeah? Because I still have some kind of habit of stealing, because I was stealing when I was a kid. I also stole from my boss. And now again I'm tempted here in Israel, because I know that I can't get senior citizenship train price, because I asked, okay? Because I did ask. A few years ago, when there was this Rafkaf, didn't exist yet. So I asked at the counter, she said, do you live here? I said, no. She said, sorry, I can't give it to you. Now I have a Rafkaf, which has my name and my date birth. So the machine wants to give me a senior citizenship prize, which I have no right to take, because the machine doesn't know that I'm not living here. Now I'm tempted to go for that one and not pay the full price. I mean, I tell you, it's terrible. I can see the habits. Because you see, whether I pay 20 shekel or 10 shekel to go to Haifa, in my daily life, it makes zero difference. But zero. But I feel these tendencies, you know. Oh, but yeah. But the funny thing is, and it's really good, if I want the senior citizenship, I have to pay. If I take it from what is already on the card, it's the full price. So I'm happy. I can still get the full price. But I can feel the temptation. I'm not doing it because I know I have no right, because I don't pay taxes here. So like that.
When you pay as a senior citizen, because I am one as well, it doubles straight away the amount.
What do you mean?
You pay 100 shekels, yes,
Yeah.
as over 60 or 65.
Ale!
It gives you straight away 200. It's written.
That's why, because...
So this is how you pay half price, whether you are
Ale!
Indian or
So
Swiss
I
or whatever.
so I need to make... So you see, I'm glad I mentioned it, because you see, this is wrong views. Something happens, and immediately we start to make a story out of it, which is not true. Because I paid 200, I gave 200 shekel to top it up, and then all of a sudden I see 400.
Yes, this is what it is.
I thought that maybe, because my memory is really bad, and I'm really, money, you know, I'm a very good money spender. I have absolutely no problem spending money, especially shekel, because what else can I do with them? Like they're here to spend. I don't want to kind of transform them backwards. So then I thought maybe I did give her 400. That's why.
So you're actually
I'm still stealing.
from cosmos. No, you're not stealing.
You're not stealing.
It's not stealing.
No, not stealing.
It's
Everyone-
not stealing.
You
Yeah.
are transforming our minds. So you
This
deserve
is
very
just
So anyway,
from the cosmos.
I go and ask them if I can make a donation, and then they will look at me like this because I wanted to pay.
Who will you donate to?
Yeah.
Just leave it full price.
Just leave it. Well, it's see with the karma, it's not just leave it. You have to be really skillful. I think I will donate 200 shekel to something to somebody.
Or you don't use the raft, like
I know the bus driver. Then he doesn't let me pay. The bus driver.
no. So it's okay. He doesn't want you to.
Because he doesn't want to be bothered with the money, so it just goes like, yeah. And then when I wanted to, because I needed to find out what's wrong with my rough cup because it didn't work, so it was expired. So I went to the office and I said, what? No, then the third ride I asked, and he said, oh well, it's expired. So now I know how to ask bus drivers. You have to ask, do you speak English? And then he goes, of course, yeah. If you just ask the question in English, then he's yeah. If you kind of ask, or can you please help me? This is also a nice way, when you need help. It's just ask, can you please help me? I don't know what's going on. He said it's expired, so I went to the office and they said, what shall I do? He said, it's okay, I can uninspire you and unexpire you. And then so I said I had like 2 free bus rides. Can I pay you for those free bus rides? He looked at me, he said like, no, kind of as if I'd said something indecent or something like that. So I said, okay, yeah. Anyway, so now the mystery of these 400 shekel is resolved, and why if I pay with money, it's half price, and if I have it deducted from the card, why it's the full price, because I didn't understand. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway. Okay, so you see, this is how the mind is, this is how mind is, and then once the story is created, then I'm sure it's right. This is the thing. So becoming a Buddha, and like we were with visualizing these objects and taking refuge in these objects, this is why we're doing these tantric practices, so that we approach the state of full awakening, which is joyful, open, ready to help, not burning out, knowing what to do. I mean, when you listen what enlightenment is, I can't understand anybody who says, oh no, I don't want that. I really don't understand. And sometimes also I ask myself, why not more people are interested in Buddhism? Because psychology tells you the same thing like Buddhism, but it doesn't get you all the way to totally be free from all negative emotions, because it doesn't tell you the root cause. Yeah? It helps you with your anger and attachment and fear and all this. But it doesn't, if you ask a psychologist, can you please take me to a state where I have no more negative emotions, they think like, ooh, this is really a bad case here. Yeah? They think that you are even more crazy than they thought you are. Yeah? So now somebody's asking me, do you really believe that you can be totally free from all negative emotions? I believe it, yes, but I don't know it. But as I believe it, even I don't know it, I see, because I'm going on this path, and this is the goal, I can see that it's getting better. And then, getting better for me is good enough. Whether there is an end goal or not, I don't care. This is not important, yeah? Because somebody said, well, what if there is no enlightenment? I said, I will not know because if there is no enlightenment, and now I make aspirations that I continue with this path, life after life after life, I will just continue with this path, life after life after life after life. It's okay. It's the same when you decide to become a millionaire. You can hope and wish and hope and wish and hope and wish, and nothing will happen.
You have to do.
Huh?
You have to do something.
You have to create the causes to become a millionaire. So what's the causes? Is to amass money and to work or to be clever or to steal rob a bank or whatever. But if you're an honest person and you know you have a very good job and you know that if I kind of I don't know, stock exchange, market, all this, there are people who are using their money only to invest their money in things that are not harmful. I know one banker like this, very nice young Belgian guy. And he made 3 million in 10 years, and he's donating it to Mathieu Ricard. That's why he wants to make money. When he was very young, he came to Tushita, and he said, I don't know whether I should go for a spiritual path or whether I should become a banker. My father is a banker, my mom is a Tai Chi teacher. So I spent quite a bit of time with him because he's a really, really nice person. And so I said, I think you should become a banker because we need people like you in these positions. So that's what he became. And he said he made like in 10 years, and he's not touching anything that is ethically not clean. And people trust him because of that and became very successful. He's in Hong Kong. So, huh?
Is that possible as a bankier?
Yeah, it is. It is, because I do believe him. I really do believe. At the same time, he's also using some of the money for himself. He loves surfing, so he goes to Tahiti and to Hawaii and, you know, all these places to have a very... he also takes rest from his very stressful job because it's not an easy job. Yeah, it's all like that. So this is what I'm saying. We all know, I think, some people say no, some people don't know, but I think the people who are sitting here, we all know that being happy or unhappy depends on our mind. Do we know that? Does everybody know that? Yet there is so little interest with working with the mind. And so much interest goes into making the outside in a way so that I can be happy. So much effort goes into that. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't put any effort into that, but I'm saying that if you really want to be happy, you have to look, why am I not happy? And then we start to see, because I project inherent existence into things that there's no inherent existence there. Whatever we perceive with our mind, whatever we can think of, whatever we can talk about, whatever we see, touch, hear, whatever, it doesn't exist the way that it appears. Because for a fly, this flower appears totally different than for me, I think. Yeah? Definitely what appears different to a fly is a piece of caca. Because even the caca is as big as a mountain, I would never go and sit on it. Whereas the fly, the moment the fly perceives some caca, goes and sits on it. So it must appear differently to the mind of a fly. Or what do you think? Huh? Yes or no?
I think that the problem lies where sometimes we believe that we're happy. We feel like we're happy.
We are happy sometimes. It's okay.
And then we ask ourselves, okay, so is this suffering? Like, you know what I mean? Because Buddha taught that everything is suffering. So you say to yourself...
He didn't say that everything is
not
suffering.
everything is suffering, but even your happiness
It's
lies...
contaminated.
Yes.
Because it ends.
Yes.
None of us is able to upkeep a state of happiness all the time. I mean, at least me. Okay, let's not talk about you. I know I am not able to upkeep a lasting state of happiness when, for example, I see somebody suffer. When I see somebody treating somebody else in a very unjust way, then I'm not able to spread my compassion on the victim and on the aggressor yet. Whereas a Buddha can do that. You see, a Buddha has a broader picture. They see that the victim was the aggressor, but that doesn't mean that, oh, they deserve it. For us, we would think, oh, they deserve it, isn't it? Like, you know, if you would, oh, what shall I? Do you have like aggressors that you dislike? Or do you have people that you dislike because you think they are abusing their power?
Many.
Huh?
Politicians.
No, politicians or, you know, like other people. A boss, it can be a boss who is abusing his power, yeah? So can you imagine the situation? Would you see that would you have, if you would know, okay, now I have to be a bit, okay, so there is this boss that abuses. Then the boss who is higher up, he finds out and he sacks him. He gets a new job. He gets abused in the new job by somebody else. Would you have compassion for this person when he gets abused? But he abused you before? Would you still have compassion? Honest compassion for that person? He abused you terribly. Whatever you did was wrong. He never had any word of praise. And then you went to complain, so it was found out he's an abuser. He gets a new job. Now he gets abused. Would you have compassion? Well, you never know, but you know, I mean, I don't think I would. Wouldn't we have a small moment of thinking, well done, now you understand what this feels, and some kind of triumph? Okay, if you don't have it, I fold my hands in front of you. Because that means you are very, very realized, you know. If you would understand, and if you would think, poor thing, you know, may he not get angry because of this. May he be able to really understand what this means. May he be able to stop abusing others. May the abuse that he has to endure, may it end very, very quickly. And you even go to the abuser and ask, please stop abusing him, because it's not going to make him a better person. If you are able to do that with a pure heart, I prostrate in front of you. Because then you are very, very, very advanced. And then you become a real gift to the world. But I would say, you know, in general, is like we would have some sort of triumph and think, you know, he deserves it. And that is not understanding karma. Because the moment you say he deserves it, then you think karma is kind of a punishing system. That's not what it is. Okay? So that's what I mean. So our happiness that we have, of course we have moments of happiness, especially in your spiritual practice, by the way. You know, sometimes when you do these practices, you become totally oneness, especially if you do a longer retreat. You do become oneness with the deity. And then you feel this, what I said, this space and this freedom and that everything is okay. It's almost like when you are manic depressive and you're on a high. When you're manic depressive and you're on a high, you love everybody. You have absolutely no fear, and you are capable of doing whatever you want to do. But it's exaggerated, and it's not based on reasoning. Yeah? So when you're not manic depressive and you feel this opening that you get in your spiritual practice, then you use it. You use it by thinking, oh wow, because it's not so, you know, it's not so needing to do something now. Because the manic depressive, when he's on a high, he needs to do things. Whereas you just have the opening and the bliss, actually, that comes from it. Yeah? And then you use it by thinking, oh, this could be my natural state. Yeah? You make yourself familiar with it. But that also finishes because it's just small moments. Because the body, the human body is very much kind of, how to say, is very much suited to do these practices, especially when it comes down to highest yoga tantric practices, when you do work with the energies. But here we don't. Here we learn first clear appearance and all these kinds of things. But for that, it needs time, and you need to go into retreats. Yeah. Then, but it's a little bit the same as the manic depressive. If you know, you plunge, because that state is so, can't describe it, and then you get attached to it because you still think it exists from its own side. Your ego is still there that latches onto it, and then you fall down, and then you think that you're doing something wrong. Whenever you kind of plunge in your spiritual practice, it's a good sign. It's a good sign that you've been quite high up, so that's already good. But also it's a sign that you have not attained enlightenment yet, so you better continue. And there's a very good book about this, which is called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry, by Jack Cornfield.
Yes,
Because it doesn't only happen with tantric practices, it also happens when you do vipassana. Because the moment your mind becomes very clear and very stable, then there's this opening, because it's the nature of the mind. But we hype ourselves up with thoughts all the time, yeah? And then we latch onto these thoughts as if they're their true, real existence. So, you know, we're going to have a little break, and then we do the sadhana, and then you can ask questions afterwards. So, if you are here by accident or having absolutely no idea what this is all about, and you don't really know Buddhism, and after the sadhana, or even in the middle of the sadhana, you go like, wow, this is really strange. Wow, what are they doing? Some kind of shaman voodoo practice or whatever? Or you feel that it's too theistic because Tara is in front of you and we make requests to her, then please put your text on wherever you are. Actually, we don't put them on the floor, so then you put them on something high, and just leave. It's fine. And think this is not for me. And either it's too early, or I don't understand, or I don't have the right imprints, because when I say, you know, I don't understand why not more people kind of work with these methods, because you also need to have the karma to be able to work with it. That you have enough faith that you do it. And it seems that not so many people have, because so many people get exposed to these methods. Like, you know, Shantideva, since when is it existing?
Formally 2011.
2011, so that's how many years? Yeah, but like, since when are you coming here? Let's say like this.
2015.
15.
2015.
Okay, 4 years. So those people like Sigal and Shuki and the other ones I don't know. Well, Nitsa, yeah. So all those guys who come regularly. How do you think? How many people have gone through here, listening to these methods? What do you think? Estimate.
2 football fields.
Huh?
2 full football fields.
A few, you know, a 1 and a few zeros.
Yeah.
Definitely more than 1 0.
Yeah.
Definitely more than 2 zeros. I would even say in these years, definitely more than 3 zeros. Where are they? Were they so stupid and they didn't understand?
No.
What was missing?
Maybe the right foundation, like, you know,
The prerequisites.
And some people are afraid of enlightenment. They don't want it.
no, it's
Yeah,
Yes,
but that's just.
I tell you, I've asked a very close friend of mine. I told her, this is my path. She says, I don't want to be enlightened.
Yeah,
In
that's
this way,
that's what people say. So every time she suffers, you can tell her, look, you don't want to be enlightened, so please don't complain.
well, she hates it more.
Now it's also what people, you know, what they, because they don't understand, because they think they're going out of existence, probably, or I don't know. Anyway, you need the prerequisites, which then they call it a precious human rebirth. When you not only have access to these teachings, but you also do something with them. Then the human rebirth becomes precious. When you have all the conditions, inner and outer, and one of the main conditions is having faith in your potential. And wanting that goal, not with attachment, not with desire, but with aspiration. And you can you can feel that aspiration that we have. Would you like to would you like to be good people? Would you like to be loving, compassionate, kind, and wise? Yes or no? Sorry, this has to be a little bit more enthusiastic, because this path is bloody difficult, I tell you. You know?
People are addicted.
Huh?
People are addicted to suffering.
No, people have wrong views. People have the wrong view that the suffering comes from outside.
Yeah.
This is why. Yeah? Not because no, I don't think anybody is addicted to suffering. Are you addicted to your pain in your leg?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I
So
find it
the moment we understand it as suffering, we want to get rid of it. And this is why the Buddha pointed out sufferings we don't understand as suffering. So the suffering of pain, we all understand. We're not addicted to that. Yeah? I mean, okay, there's a few masochists who pay money so that somebody gives them pain. But why? Because they want to be happy. Not because of the pain, but because they think that the pain is making them happy, which can happen because pain makes you very present. Your mind can become very sharp. I know somebody who had lung cancer and they removed part of her lungs, and she said, I never had such pain. But in the middle of that pain, because I was meditating on it, all of a sudden the opening happened. That's probably what happens to masochists, because maybe they meditated on pain and now, it's like we don't really know where they all come from or why they are doing these things. And this is also, when you say they, we don't know. Buddhism is about me, I can only know my mind. I cannot know other people's mind. Yeah? But I can can you see in your mind that you would like to be what we just call in a very simple way, a good person? Yes, no? Would you like to be a non-harming person? Would you like to be a wise person, having the skills when somebody needs help and the energy to help them? Do you have joy in helping others without having an agenda and wanting everything back? Isn't that the best thing we can do with our life?
It is a very long journey. You never reach that, and the daily life are too intense.
Well, who says that we have to do this in one lifetime? Who said that?
Ordinary people would like to have it here and now.
We're not talking about ordinary people. I'm talking about us. So you have to say, I think it's too long. I don't want to do it. Again, what ordinary people do has nothing to do with us. Yeah? All these teachings, you use them as a mirror, not as a window that we look out. Because as I'm saying, what they think and this we don't know, and what they want. But I want to be personally, I would like to be a good person. I would like to be a kind person. I also know that sometimes I'm not kind. But I'm working on it. I really assure you, this is really not my intention to harm somebody. But I do sometimes. And that's not because I want it, but because of habits, tendencies. Me, myself not being well, So like this. It's getting better, actually. So thanks to the practice. And I'm really happy because it makes my life happier. You see, when you have somebody around you who is very, very moody and very unkind, try not to judge them so much. They don't have a choice. We do not have a choice to be happy. Same as the millionaire, we have to create the causes. We have to do something with our unhappy minds. Yeah? Okay. But it will take a long time. Yes, you're right. One lifetime, but so what? We have time. We have one life after the other. The only thing that we can do now is to make sure, or at least to try, to train for the time of death so that we're not falling into a lower state. Knowing what would create a lower state. Knowing how, now that we are still okay and not too sick, what to do when our mind is in a negative state. How to apply these antidotes. What to do with it. When, like, to have an emergency kit when things are getting tight and the mind is very confused, and this is one of them. These practices of taking refuge and visualizing a Buddha, that is one of them, because the mind will be drawn towards somewhere where we can continue with the path, which will be in a human state. Okay? If your refuge is food or friends or telephone or computer games or things like that, you will not have access to this at the time of death. At the time of death, if somebody knows that you were a Buddhist, the best thing that they can do for you is showing you an image of a Buddha. Because then the imprints that you have created on your mind, they will wake up and the mind will go there. The same way as when you are totally maybe absent-minded and you walk in a crowd and you're not seeing not even one face. The moment your subtle consciousness recognizes a friend, recognizes a face, tuck, your mind goes there. Isn't it? Even if you're totally kind of absent-minded, the moment you see somebody or something that you know, your attention goes there. So if at the time of death your attention goes to a Buddha, no matter which one, it doesn't really matter which one, because all the Buddhas represent love, compassion, and wisdom, you will be on like a train, you will be on a rail going to a rebirth where you can continue with your practice. If you are a very good spiritual practitioner and you have done these practices kind of really seriously, highest Yoga Tantra, where you absorb, when you absorb into emptiness with the 8 stages, some people will know what I'm talking about. The others who don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay, don't worry. If you are getting into these practices, you will then get to learn, but otherwise you don't need to know. So you will train and you will learn to do these 8 absorptions so that you can stay in the clear light, because the clear light happens naturally at the time of death. Everything falls away. The mind grows in its natural state of freedom, openness, and there's no I who perceives it. The I disappears. You become the light, you become the space, you become the freedom, and if you recognize it as your natural state of mind, this is your ticket out of samsara. This is why it's the quick path. Because actually we train, when we do highest Yoga Tantra, we train so that then, at the time of death, the mind can recognize what's going on. But now we do Kriya Tantra, where we take a deity in front of us. So we'll do the sadhana, and so then if you then want to stay, then the sadhana will take about an hour or maybe a little bit less. Then lunch is at 1 o'clock. You still have time to ask questions, and then we have a break, and then the sadhana we do 2 more times in the afternoon. Because these practices, I know I've been talking quite a bit now, but these practices, you have to do them. Talking about them is like talking about a kind of a medicine that you're not swallowing. You learn everything about the medicine, but you don't swallow it. Then it's like not much point. If you need pee-pee break, but just 5 minutes, it's not a tea break, okay?